Okay, so tonight's video is going to be kind of something that you might think you already know, but it's something we see a lot of mistakes on in Algebra 1. So we're going to clear up some definitions about some terms and talk about absolute value. So if I look at these two items right here, we have positive and negative numbers, okay? So obviously you know positive numbers are anything greater than 0, and then negative numbers are less than 0, right? And you should know that 0 is not positive or negative. It's neither, okay? So we know 0 is neither. It carries no sign, whether positive or negative. Now, opposites, when we talk about opposites, we're talking about positive and negative numbers. So if we have the opposite of negative 5, we would say the opposite is 5. Or if I want the opposite of 10, the opposite of 10 would be negative 10. So it's where you find it on the opposite end of their number line. So here's the number line. Here's my 0. Here's 5. If I want the opposite of 5, it would be down here at negative 5. So those are opposites. And sometimes those get confused with absolute value. These are not absolute value. These are just opposites of. When we talk about a lot of times what would make something equal 0. And that's essentially what makes something equal 0. If you can add them two together and get no value, then those are opposites. Okay? Integers, most people forget, are positive and negative whole numbers. So you could have negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, and so on. But if I put negative 1/2, that is not considered an integer. This is called a rational number. Okay? So something that most people forget is integers have to be of whole value. They can't be a decimal, they can't be a fraction, they need to be a whole value. Now, absolute value is something that's often confused. This wants to know the distance the number is. We'll say distance of value is from 0. Okay? So unless we're talking about 0, it might have two meanings. So if I have negative 5 and I have positive 5, the absolute value here is going to be 5. This is 5 places away from 0, and this is 5 places away from 0. Now, absolute value, we use the bracket. So I say, what's the absolute value of 5? That really means how far away is 5 from 0? And you would say 5. The same thing goes for negative 5. If I said, how far away is negative 5 from 0? You would tell me 5. Now, if I asked you, what's the opposite of 5? You would tell me negative 5, because those two equal 0. This wants to know what this distance is from here to here, or from here to here. Okay, so very different between opposites and absolute values. Some real life examples of opposites, positive and negative, would be something like this. If I had 7 feet above sea level, the opposite would be 7 feet below sea level, which would be 7 and negative 7, right? If I had 120 yards gain, the opposite of that would be at 120 yards lost. So those are opposites. This one's kind of funny. Okay. Okay, again, a little more talk about opposites. The opposite of negative 6 would be, why does that keep doing that? Positive 6. Opposite of 109, negative 109. I think you get the point there, right? And here's when we get into absolute value. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6, okay? However, I could also say, what is the absolute value of 6? And it would still be 6. And this is a common misconception. People want to say they're opposites. They're not. Again, we're just saying how far away from 0 is negative 6. And that would be 6 places. Okay? If I have the absolute value of 6, I'm still asking how far is 6 away from 0? And it's still 6. Okay? So we get a little graph there. And again, when you have this, it's just one answer. It's 6, and it's 6 places from 0. Okay? Okay, I'm going to have you do a couple of quick questions here, 1 through 5. What are the absolute values of these numbers? Everyone better get 100% on that one. Absolute values. Remember, it's not the opposite, it's the absolute value. So make sure you're making the right choice. There you go, Chase. Nice and sweet and short. I hope you're happy.